Welcome, everyone. I'm so excited to have you here today. So, welcome to the SPARK StartHer, the podcast dedicated to sharing stories that ignite female entrepreneurs into action. I'm your host, Elizabeth Goede, and I'm here to fan the flame of your entrepreneurial spirit. Each week, we bring to you the inspiring stories of women trailblazers from around the world who have sparked change in their industries, powered their ideas into thriving businesses, and pioneered their way to success. So whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur, a startup enthusiast, or a seasoned business leader, join us as we delve into the journeys of these incredible women whose tales will surely ignite each one of us. Today on SPARK StartHer, we have a very special guest who embodies the spirit of igniting change and empowering women. Jennifer Ortiz is the visionary founder of Lioness Awaken coaching program and Spread Your Wings Escape. With over 8 years of experience in trauma-informed counseling and a passion for serving women, Jennifer has made it her mission to unlock women's fullest God-given potential and help them find their voice. As a Kingdom Life coach, Jennifer works tirelessly to empower individuals, groups, and organizations to live authentically and embrace a kingdom lifestyle. Her experience working with youth survivors of human trafficking and domestic violence has fueled her dedication to leading others towards inner healing and freedom from trauma. But Jennifer's impact doesn't stop there. Recognizing the need for safe spaces for female solo travelers, she has ventured into the hospitality business. For more than 2 years, she has been providing a haven through her Airbnb, actively working to reduce the risk of human trafficking within the industry. Jennifer's entrepreneurial journey is one of purpose, resilience, and unwavering commitment to making a difference in the lives of women. Her story is a testament to the power of combining passion with business acumen to creating meaningful change. So get ready to be inspired. Welcome to the show, Jennifer. So excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Elizabeth, for inviting me for this episode. I am just so excited to share my story and see how my story can be an inspiration for others that will listen.
Yeah, I mean, just even from your intro, there are many, many things that we need to unpack here. And I think that let's start with the coaching side of the business. So you have 8 years working as a counselor, and I know you have sort of your own experience that found your way in here. I know one of the unique facts you included, and something we talked about briefly in the studio before we started today, was the fact that you have been single for 8 years.
Yes, correct. I have been single for 8 years. And prior to that, I was actually what led me to the coaching program and activating like the single woman in this hour to really walk into their fullest potential and their calling and to build for the kingdom is I actually experienced a lot of trauma in regards to being in a narcissistic relationship that I was part of for almost 7 years. And this was a very traumatic experience for me because it was a person that I thought I was going to get married and have children, but there was a lot of emotional abuse, manipulation that ended actually me wanting to be in a relationship, but that was my desire to get married and being able to have children. And it just ended into other cycles of being in the same type of relationships. So what broke out for me is like when I encountered Jesus and allow my heart to be healed and delivered. And ever since then, I was born again. And that was 8 years ago. And ever since then, I've been going through this single healing journey and learning how to love myself, learning how to build for the kingdom, and just breaking a lot of the mold of the culture mindset that a single woman cannot start building or having her own business or be a homeowner or have her own car and be financially free and independent. So it's been an amazing adventure, you can say.
Yeah, 100%. And that's really what I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that also is sort of where the Lioness came from, correct?
Yes,
And
yes,
and so it was through those experiences that you had on, in your own life that that you really want to help women, right? So can you talk a little
yes,
bit about, I know you talked about the relationship and about how, you've been having this time of, I'm going to call it awakening, over
yes.
the last 8 years, in your sort of solo, single woman, stage. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you made that transition into the Lioness Awakens coaching program?
Yes, definitely. Because something I realized, and there was a lot of revelation, was that I was very a shy person. I was not outspoken. I did not like public speaking. I will be so anxious, and I will fear rejection. I will fear judgment. I will fear abandonment. I will fear trusting other people, and especially men, because of my past experience. So I realized that my voice was like being shrinked. It was trying to actually keep me silent.
Mhm.
And it was an awakening moment during these past 8 years that God just really healed me and delivered me from all those lies, of those fears and the anxiety and the intimidation of others, that tend to keep my voice like shut and
Mhm.
not allowing myself to speak up. I was struggling with people pleasing a lot,
Sure.
and that was like preventing me to really spread my wings and fly and really be the lioness. So that was just like the awakening that I had this roar inside of me that I needed to release. And I cannot be tame anymore. I'm not locked up anymore. Like, it's time to be out and be released and run with the vision and run with the dreams, the passion God has given me, and not allow others to stop me. Because it's like that was the awakening that I experienced, and then the transition of the desire to lead other women to be awakened, that your voice is not removed, it has not been stolen. Your voice has always been there. It just needs to be unlocked and be awakened.
I love that. And I love how you state that roar, that you found that roar and you came from this, place of, I'm going to call it suppression, right? Where you felt very much like you had to be in the background. And now look at you, you're here on this podcast,
Yeah.
speaking your voice, which I love. And
Thank you.
so I want to a little bit dovetail into sort of the other business that you have that we sort of talked through, which is the Spread Your Wings Escape.
Yes.
And can you tell us just a little bit about that in particular?
Yes, definitely. Spread Your Wings Escape was started about 2 years ago. And it started because I actually work in the anti human trafficking industry with youth survivors. I've been working here for the past 3 years. And something I really noticed, and it was very highlighted to me, that human trafficking is happening so much in the hospitality business, in the hotels, Airbnbs, short term rentals. And that's where mainly the trafficking are mainly happening, but no one is really talking about it. And it was just a desire in my heart that I need to do something about it. And I had a home, I had extra spare rooms, and at some point I was praying, and it was just like a download in my spirit and my heart, like, okay, do Airbnb in the guest rooms. And at that point, let me tell you, I didn't have the money to start off. I didn't have the money to start off with decorate the room or make it special, to prepare for the Airbnb listing. I just like, okay, Lord, like, if you want me to start this, you're going to provide. Next thing you know, that same week I got a bonus from my job. And that was like literally what I used to start off the Airbnb. And that was a moment that literally it just changed. So I started the rooms for solo female travelers to provide a safe place, especially when they're traveling by themselves, because that's the main concern as a woman. It's like when looking for Airbnbs, is it safe? who's the host. And I heard stories from friends that it's just horrible what they experienced, that they felt so like scared, and
Mhm.
they had to leave the Airbnb because of the host,
Right.
and they didn't feel safe.
Right.
So I've been doing this for the past 2 years. It's like you can say a prevention program
Mhm.
of of providing this retreat experience and to encounter the Lord and just having like a rest, refresh away from home. And really, I had so many testimonies. I'm 5 stars super host in Airbnb now, and I met girls from all around the world. And every time they come to my Airbnbs, they're like, oh, I just feel peace. I just feel rest. I feel
Mm.
safe. And the keyword is safe. And now I expanded to another room. So I have 2 listings now. And I just love hosting. I just love sisterhood and bringing community, coming together and just breaking bread and just having that moment of having that safe place to share, getting to know each other, and just allowing healing and restoration to take place.
Yeah, I love that so much, and, I love your mission. I love the fact that you just took action. I think a lot of us sometimes sit back and, we think it needs to be perfect, or we think that we need to have all these things in place, and that becomes the barrier to us actually making things happen. So I love the fact that you were like, "Listen, this is what it is. This is what I can do right now. I feel called to do it, and look at, how far things have come." So I do think that that this is you are a unique guest for us, because I do want to note the fact that you also do work full time.
Yes.
And just so that we can sort of understand how the pieces fit together, why don't you just share with us what you do in the current position that you have right now?
Yes, definitely. So I am a program manager supervisor at an anti-human trafficking nonprofit organization. I've been working here for the past 3 years, and it's located in Texas. And specifically, what I do here is I serve youth survivors of human trafficking up to the age of 22. And it's a drop in center that is open 24/7, and it's a safe place. So if any of the youth that are at risk for trafficking, that are homeless, that are outside, or they're being saved from the trafficking situation, they can come here, they can shower, they can have rest, they can do laundry, have a hot meal, and then we help them find shelter and placement afterwards. So, and I do provide counseling services as well, and just helping heal from trauma experiences, especially from those drastic situations. And and then I do that in regards to just helping them lead to the journey of that bridge to their freedom and their breakthrough.
And so what I find really interesting about this, I mean, number one, this was an actual calling for you. I mean, you were living in New York and you moved to Texas to be able to
Yes.
sort of live out this passion. And then you now, I believe, did you also start your coaching business and your spread your wings, the Airbnb? Did you start both those businesses when you got to Texas, or had you already started them before?
Actually, the Spread Your Wings Escape started 2 years ago. So that was like a year after I moved to Texas. And then my Lioness Awaken coaching, I started actually the beginning of this year. So that's something that it just came over time as I continue to build and noticing the gifts that God has given me, and the expansion of also the desire to see other women free and be safe and reduce the risk of trafficking. And especially, I just came also back from the Philippines from a mission trip as well. And I was there for 10 days. And I was also serving women who are in the sex trade in the Philippines.
Mhm.
So it's definitely a passion and a heart for me to see other women be free.
Yeah, yeah. What an amazing heart you have.
Thank you.
And, when you think about being an entrepreneur, this is being an entrepreneur is not a low time commitment. And so I think about you working, sort of full time. I think about you working in a an industry and in a position that certainly would feel almost, I would equate it to dog years because of the emotional piece that I'm sure that you go through. So, what's it like to balance those two things together? What's it like to balance having the coaching program, having the Airbnb, and having a job? Like, how do you fit all those three things together?
Yes, great question. And that's something that is a blessing for me because my full-time job, actually work just 3 days of the week. So I have 4 other days that I can be lenient to work on my entrepreneurship, on my own businesses, of my hospitality and coaching program business. So then I'm able to balance those two together. So it's not like a regular Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and then also managing some time, to have a Sabbath. And then also my self-care, because that's also important as a
It
counselor
is.
and working with trauma. That's very important. So my way of self-care is for sure traveling. I love traveling. And I also I always pray, Lord, like help me to manage my time and not take it for granted. Just
Okay.
even like the times that I have the days off, the weekend, I have my Sundays to go to church and have my Sabbath and my rest and no work. And the other 3 days that I have off, I can balance, okay, my hospitality business and then my coaching program. So that way I can be able to do everything as a whole.
Well, to be honest with you, I guess it makes sense also that you're single because I'm trying to figure out where you'd fit that
Yes.
other
Right.
reason.
That's why I'm like, take advantage of your single season because when I tell you, this time is precious.
Yeah, yes, 100%, 100%.
Yeah.
So when we think about, having a business and I sort of almost want to ask these questions. I'm not sure if I can ask these questions against both companies at the same time. I guess let's see how it goes. When you think about the amount of startup costs, right? In starting a business, I mean, certainly you got certified in your coaching piece, so there was obviously cost there. You have, other costs that go in, and so walk me through um the process of how you decided to set up your coaching program, because that's the most recent piece that you did. So
Mhm.
what inspired you to go there? And then, I guess let's start there. What inspired you to go there?
Yes, definitely. Because I've been a counselor already for 8+ years, working in trauma and with victims of domestic violence and trafficking, and also with adolescents and youth. I noticed also for me what was the transition was it was like I realized and I noticed even with sisters in Christ, and women in the church that there's a lack of like singles community
Mm,
of guiding them into their inner healing journey,
right.
and then also helping them to break free from toxic relationships
Sure.
that kind of prevents them to really embrace who their identity truly is about, and then also embracing like the real kingdom spouse marriage that they are so well deserving to receive. So then that was where the spark happened in the passion of like, oh, I mean, I've been single for 8+ years. I'm content. I am just living and traveling and embracing and taking advantage of my moment. But there's some that are just living of, oh, I want to get married. I can't wait to have my husband and have my family and my children. Yes, those are great desires. Those are good desires. But there's certain assignments that we need to fulfill right now in our single season that cannot be fulfilled when we're married, because then our focus will be on our husbands and our children. Now it's like focus on, okay, what is my calling? What is my assignment right now? So then that's how I started building the coaching program based on my also experience as a trauma counselor, and also personal experience of how I was able to break free from certain toxic relationships and lies and deception, and renewing my mindset on
Mm,
who I really am. So starting off, it was like very like I started a Facebook group for free. So it was a free Facebook group. I started a Lioness tribe, singles Christian women's community. All of a sudden, okay, this is free. Just looking for ways that, because financially, okay, like it's an investment, right? It's an investment to start a business. So I was like, okay, let me look what I can do for free. Okay, Facebook group. I started that. Now I have 52 girls, women in the group that they can invite their single friends and to find support, accountability partners, and really prepare us for marriage. And at the same time, I'm single, so we're doing it together. And then Canva. Canva is definitely my go-to, especially I have experience making flyers and coordinating events and coordinating groups and women's retreats. So I was able to use that to really build uh, my flyers and also my page. And at the same time, I just like started basic, like, okay, Zoom call, you can Zelle me. Okay, you could start off like
I
that
love
and just
this. I love this
starting
scrappy.
the
I love
basics.
the scrappy. But
Yes.
so, but when you actually got certified in your coaching, was there a cost to do that?
Yes. So I will have like, it was a credit card. So I will use the
Okay.
credit card, but then
Yeah.
I will know I will pay it off. And then I also found a business coach that helped me during the process of doing monthly coaching calls. And that's something I highly recommend is the
Mhm.
business coach,
Yes.
because especially me as a new entrepreneur, me starting my own business, I want some guidance. I want some wisdom from someone that already have done it.
Absolutely.
And so that was really helpful. He is amazing. And especially that we have the same beliefs and faith, and it's all about building the kingdom. So he has helped me and guide me through the process as well.
That's fantastic. So what do you think has been the biggest struggle for you in having your business?
For me, I noticed that, especially starting a business, I will think, oh, it's gonna escalate quickly. I'm gonna get the money quickly, the funds and everything, but it is gonna take some time.
Yeah.
It's to build and to market and learn how to market and learning how to put myself out there and, getting into speaking engagements like podcast interviews like this. It's just putting myself out there, not just waiting for people to come to me. So
Yeah.
that's something that I really had to learn and embrace and be patient through with the process in the beginning. And eventually the harvest is coming. So
Yeah, I love that. I love that sentiment. And also I think the reality, right? I mean, everybody sees constant messaging of like these get rich quick type of approaches, but the
yes.
reality is very, very few people actually scale at that level. And even the people that have had that success, they had been laying that groundwork for more than just, a few days.
Right, right. Because I
Yeah,
would
so I
love
love
like 30 days or less, 2 weeks. Okay, that sounds great. But there's also a process
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Exactly. So when you look at also having your business, and especially because you can do very clearly sort of this parallel because of the fact that you're still collecting a sort of W-2 type of position right now, collecting a paycheck. What would you say is the biggest success in what is like the happy part of having your business? Like what's the positive aspect?
Oh, I love it. I just love, in regards to like my hospitality business, I just love meeting other women from around the world and just they coming to my home and I finding rest and peace and just like divine conversations, divine relationships that I just love creating an experience. It's not just a regular Airbnb stay, it's an experience. I see it. And in just the way they come in and they come out of my home, it's just like such a peace and a reverence that they just feel like, wow, like they feel recharged, they feel reset, ready to go back home to pick up where they stopped. And even if they're going through a transition and they need some space to really collect themselves and really evaluate their lives or their goals or their priorities, and they can have that there. So just for me, seeing that, and also reducing the risk of trafficking among them, like just even for the one, I'm after the one. So for me to see that is just so rejoicing, and I love it. I love it. And then in regards to my coaching program, I just love seeing so many women receiving healing and restoration and just revelation of like connecting the dots of where the gap was missing and seeing where the cycle started. What was the root of that? How it all started into being into toxic relationships or unhealthy relationships.
Right.
Where did it started? Like, oh, from the childhood, and then bringing it back to the present and knowing that that's the root, and just going and diving deep, and knowing that after they receive that revelation and breakthrough, they're just like their mindset shifts. So it's just like, wow, like I just rejoice seeing so much freedom taking place.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what a heartwarming, job to sort of take on. I can see why you would be compelled to start those ventures. When you also think about this, and again, both your businesses are relatively young, right? I mean, 1 year and 2 years old.
Mhm.
I do love the fact though that you just keep adding to your plate. Um, what do you think has been the biggest surprise for you, in starting your business and having your business? What do you think's been the biggest surprise?
For me, the biggest surprise of starting my business is I believe it's just the how it starts, and in regards to things not moving quickly as expected.
Sure. Yeah.
So
The
that
reality.
that's really is like learning how to pace on myself for that, and be having grace on myself and patience, and it's like really dedicating time
Yeah.
to really build, and
Yeah.
not just posting on Instagram or Facebook on social media and let it flow from there. No, it's like there has to be some behind the scenes work that needs to be done. Um, and also putting myself out there in networking events or meetup events
Yes.
and with business cards, and just really like, hey, um, I'm a life, like Kingdom Life Coaching. I also do Airbnb. So if you need help in building your Airbnb listing, or building a Airbnb in your room, in your a spare room that you have, I would love to help. I would love to guide you and to support this mission to reduce the risk of trafficking in the
Mm,
hospitality business. Like
mm,
all of that, and just putting myself out there, really taking time and invest in myself. That's key. Is there is in the beginning that it might look like it's a loss of finances, but it's actually sowing into my future,
right.
that it's worth for me to invest in a business coach. It's worth, to invest in the business right now as I'm starting, because eventually, as I continue to sow the seeds, God is in control and He's my CEO. So He's going to water those seeds, and it's going to create a harvest for building generational blessings and wealth for my own family. Because, especially, I was born and raised in New York, born in Harlem, in the hood, and with my mom, who was a single mom, and me and my siblings, we were struggling. We were
Mm,
struggling financially, and my mom had public assistance. She was a stay-at-home mom and an SSI because she couldn't work, and it was just like depending on what she was bringing to the table, and she was my greatest inspiration,
hmm.
because
Oh,
it was like she did the best she could to provide food on the table, and she rather us eat than for her to eat.
right.
And for me to see that and witness that, this encouraged me. Like, I have to break the cycle. I have
Mm,
to. really break that poverty mindset and really build generational wealth for my
Wow.
family, for my children, for my future children, for their children, the legacy, because it's like I don't want them to experience what I experienced, that lack of not having enough.
Mm.
And it's like, and that helped me grow as a person to realize like there is more on the other side, and that I really have to put my part and take advantage of the time that I am here, because every day is not granted. So I'm seeing that as a future generational blessing
Mm.
and freedom for the next generation that is coming after me.
Yeah. I love that sentiment, and I love you sharing that story too, especially on the cusp of Mother's Day this weekend.
I know, my mama, she's in New York, so, I'm in Texas, so I was like, "I'm gonna make sure I send her gifts at least, because I won't be able to be there with her," but she's the greatest inspiration. When I tell you she's a prayer warrior, and she has so much wisdom in finances, like, even with the little bit that she has, the Lord just multiplies it
Mm.
and knows how to build. And I'm like, Lord, like make it make sense. Like the math don't add up, but it's like always, because she is such a faithful sower, and she gives her all, and I'm just so blessed to have her as my mom.
Yeah, that's so sweet. But happy Mother's Day.
Oh, thank you. You too.
Um, okay, so a couple more questions that I have for you. One is as one thing that I ask every single guest that comes on our show is to give one word or a short phrase that you would give as inspiration to another woman that's looking to start her business.
Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Just do it. Don't think about, okay, I have to have this, I have to have that, I have to have X amount of money, I have to have the mic, I have to have this specific camera,
Right.
I have to have, set this type of clothing or anything. Like, no, just start with what you have, because it's like the Lord reminded me of, okay, what do you have in your hands? What do you
Right.
have in your hands? And use what he given you in your hands. And you say, no, I don't have nothing. But no, look more closely. What do you have in your house? What do you have in your room? What do you have in your backyard that you just overlooked?
Mm-hmm.
And you just like very like, no, that's nothing. Like, no, that's something that like the Lord can multiply so much. And that's what the challenge for me is, like, use what I have, and I believe that you just start recording, start building, start writing the vision and making it plain. And really, if it's like your heart desire, that God just puts it, like he's gonna make sure he's gonna provide. When I tell you, I didn't have, like I said, I didn't have the funds to set up my Airbnb. And next thing you know, once I said yes and surrendered and stopped leaning on my own understanding and trying to make sense of things and where the money was going to come from. And it was like, that's when he came through. And especially with my coaching program. So don't limit the limitations because of what you see in the physical. Have faith, and the Lord will meet you there.
Oh, that's very, very sweet way to end for today. Is there anything else that we didn't cover today that you'd like to make sure that our listeners get or know?
Yeah. Yes. I just feel so strong right now is the time to start building. Like this is the time to start building like your business, your entrepreneurship life. And because it's not about us at the end of the day, it's for the people that is attached to your yes.
Mm.
And for their freedom, for their breakthrough, even for for your family financial breakthrough.
Mm.
And we can pray all the time, like, Lord, provide finances,
Right.
provide the money. And then at the end of the day, he's giving you some gifts that only you can multiply, and the Lord can multiply it and use that to build wealth. to build the business. And don't minimize your cooking skills. Don't minimize like wants to use your voice as a speaker to start a podcast or a YouTube channel or a company or go into the marketplace, go into real estate. No matter what it is, the Lord wants to use that gift to glorify Him and also to build wealth in your family. So do not diminish the gifts that He has given you, because that's where the finances will come into your life. And it's also breaking the mold that you need a W-2 job in order to sustain yourself. And I know it's hard to break that, especially when we're working in a paycheck to paycheck and just depending on that paycheck to paycheck every 2 weeks or every week. But it's like that moment of faith of like surrendering and knowing there is so much more on the other side when we break free from that.
Yeah. Thank you very much for sharing that.
Yeah.
And Jennifer, how do people get a hold of you? And I do want to make this one note.
Yes.
That Jennifer has only one N. So if you are looking for Jennifer, you want to make sure you just spell it with one N. But what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Oh, definitely. You can search me on Instagram. My handle is Jenifer, Jenifer Ortiz _414. And on Facebook, Jennifer Ortiz.
Fantastic. And if there is a young person who's out there struggling and in a dangerous situation, what is your best recommendation for next steps that they should take?
Yes, great question. So, depending on which state they are living, definitely calling, if they're in a dangerous state, calling 911, the police, and then also there are certain hotlines if they are struggling in regards to like they're in a trafficking situation. There is a national human trafficking hotline that is national, and it's the same number that can be called to report any type of suspect or risk of trafficking and that they need immediate attention. They can also call the hotline number. And as well, don't be afraid to ask for help. There are always people around us that are willing to help in any situation, and I believe those are God sent. And just don't be afraid to ask and share, but knowing that there are good people out there that can help you in your moment right there.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you again for the calling that you felt to help these young women who are trying to get out of those situations and get the help that they need and stay out of those
Thank you.
situations, I should say.
Yes.
So
Thank
thank you.
you.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I said thank you so much for allowing me to be part of this episode, and it's such an amazing experience just to see how also your podcast and your business is inspiring other women to start their entrepreneurship journey. So I bless you.
Oh, thank you very, very much. Thank you so much, Jennifer, for being my guest today, and to all of our listeners who have tuned in to listen to the Spark Starter podcast. It's been my pleasure bringing you the uniquely inspiring stories that ignite other female entrepreneurs into action. I've been your host, Elizabeth Goede, and on behalf of all the awe-inspiring women entrepreneurs out there, I encourage you to not only dream big, but to ignite those dreams into action. Remember, every spark can lead to an extraordinary fire. So keep the spark alive for today, tomorrow, and the vibrant future beyond. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to never miss a spark. Until next time, stay ignited.